and good evening, Facebook, YouTube. And if you are watching on YouTube, go ahead and hit that like button and subscribe and follow. And we're like on the last two episodes of the season, and I am ready to take a break. I'm not going to even lie to you about that right there. Uh, but I have the famous Trinette Coyle on the show again, the coach. And ma'am, how have you been doing tonight?
I like that. You said famous. I'm gonna receive that. I'm learning to receive these accolades. I'm gonna do that. Famous. Yes, y'all make me famous. I'm ready to retire, retire. But listen, I'm good. I'm blessed. Thank you as always for thinking of me. I love your platform and love the dialogue. So thank you so much for
Oh,
having me. I'm good.
no problem. I have to say that, it's one of those controversial topics.
You think so?
And it kind of really hit home, and I was ready to jump on this
Oh,
because today I was listening to, and for those who don't know what the topic is, it is learning to learning the importance of dating without sex. Because
mm,
everybody loves sex, and
yup.
there, and there for a while, people were in tune with the can't do sex before marriage. That's
Mm-hmm.
practically been thrown out of the window.
Mm-hmm.
Everybody's being used car salesman, and I have to try it out before I buy it type of situation going on. And but I don't know if you ever heard what's going on about Marcus Houston. You remember Marcus Houston?
Mm-hmm.
And you know what they've been saying about him, right?
I don't know what they've been saying. I know he was on the show and he was telling his piece about marrying his wife.
Right, right,
Yeah.
right, 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 right.
So, my take is I'm gonna do a Tabitha Brown, I'm minding my business. If she was legal, was she legal? Was she 21?
She was
Because
18 when he married.
she was 18.
Uh huh.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, depending on the states, is that's legal.
Yeah.
And
They didn't catch if anything else was going on. They didn't catch it.
now from my understanding, he said that they did not touch, did not even, I guess, date while she was under
Right,
18.
right,
And part of me can believe that. It's one of those things where God sees it, saw it. So if he's lying, God gonna strike him down. I'm sorry, he
right.
strike him down. Because she was underage or whatnot. But if she was really 18 and he consummated the relationship when they got married and so forth, um, for me, 18 is just that's the start of your life. But for some people, they feel like they ready and mature. That so hey.
I was supposed to have been finding the clip
Mhm.
where Charlemagne was talking about this earlier. Him and DJ Emmy,
Mhm.
and the clip that they have of him, Marcus. And again, this ties into what we're talking about.
Yeah.
Um, because he states that he can't talk to anyone his age or older
Yeah.
because of the independency, not needing or wanting a man.
Yeah.
And he comes from that era where he needs to feel needed.
Yeah. Yeah.
There were a couple of people that called in that I got a chance to listen to. There's one person that Charlemagne went out there, and he
Uh-huh.
was stating that he understood Marcus, and Charlemagne was like, "How?" He said, "Well, I get it. Nobody don't want a woman that's been ran through."
Yeah. Oh, wait a minute. Who said
And
that?
so he responded with, "So, do you have baggage?" And the dude was like, "No." And he's like, "Everybody has baggage. You're a lot. Everybody has baggage. If you're older, heck, even kids, Nowadays, kids are
Yeah.
coming with baggage before they even turn to adults.
Yeah.
And so for him to say, nah, I ain't got no baggage, you could tell how he was saying that he was just lying. But hey,
Now this is Charlemagne's.
nah, this Charlemagne asking the a
Mhm.
caller, did he
Okay.
have baggage? And the dude was like, nah.
Right.
And the dude was also saying that he don't want no woman that's ran through. So Charlemagne asked him, what about you? So is it okay for a woman to, and it's not word for word what the dude said, what Charlemagne said, but it's pretty much
Yeah.
kind of paraphrasing.
Yeah.
How about you? Would you, if you was ran through, which I'm pretty sure he's had his fair share of women,
Right.
how would you feel if a woman denied you? He said,
Yeah.
well, that's different. He said, because women deny men because of the money statute, and then men deny women because of the, the sex number.
Right.
I talk about all of that to go into segue into having a relationship without sex.
Yeah.
Definitely dating wise. Now, if you in a full-fledged relationship, marriage and all that, by all means, you go for it. You do what you need to do. But
Right.
we have some bullet points.
Yep.
In our first bullet point, to bust it wide open, is establishing deeper emotional connections. I
Mm.
don't think,
I'm
and
pulling
it's
up
my
the
opinion,
point.
I don't feel that once sex has been brought into the equation, regardless if you sit and you bark about, well, I had non-emotional sex with that person, I
Okay.
still feel that throws 80 to 60%
Mm-hmm.
out of the door for you to have a genuine relationship with a person.
Okay.
What about you?
So so your first bullet point, we're on number one, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so deeper establishing a deeper emotional connection. So what I was jotting down, and again for those who are tuned in, this is my point of view because I am your certified relationship coach,
Right.
but this is my point of view.
And I ain't
Um
no expert. I'm just seasoned.
Well, it kind of, we become experts because we season, because we've had the experiences. So what I was saying is, you establish a healthy relationship with yourself first, right?
Yeah.
And so, you get to know who you are mentally, spiritually, and physically.
Right.
um and then you ask yourself, what is it about sex that you are attracted to, right? And then you decide what it is that you want, and are you following. So for me, it's like once you start asking these questions, because again, we're attracted to sex, especially if we're younger, we don't know much about it. We see it from TV, we hear from our friends. I was watching All American last night, and of course, it's about teens, right?
Right.
And one of the teen couples, they were engaging in their first sexual encounter, and I was like, oh wow, this is conversation amongst high school seniors or whatnot. And so, and you're like, oh, wait, okay. And so you have to understand the relationship with yourself as a woman. For me, it's like, yeah, the first time, you know, I was out there I had sex. I lost my virginity at 21. So
Okay.
I was a late bloomer. And then once I lost my virginity, I was super excited. I wanted to have more sets, more sets, more sets, but I was in a relationship, committed relationship. Didn't know he was out there still cheating, but I was
Right.
committed, right? Didn't know about the sets and didn't know about the relationships or whatever. But once I got grown, second, third year in college days, I was like, hey, ooh, let me experience some more. But I didn't have that emotional connection because, I was having fun with it. So
Right.
that's why I tell people now, you got to understand what is it that you want out of the sets. So that's how I look at that first bullet point, establishing that deeper emotional connection. Because again, you got to ask yourself, what is it that you really want out of this sexual encounter? You know, is it that you what is, and we have to learn how to communicate that with ourselves and then with the partner or partners you decide to have, you know. And so once you establish that first with yourself, then I feel like you can establish that relationship, that emotional connection with whomever you sleep with.
Yeah, I can say like with my wife. When we first met, I was going through a a walk of what you call it, abstinence,
Yeah.
and regardless of even if well, it wasn't a thought because I was actually going through this journey with God, and so it
Yeah.
wasn't a afterthought or a beginning thought. I didn't have any urges for her and
Yeah.
whatnot because that's my journey that I want to go. But that journey also allowed me to um, establish a deeper connection with her.
Right. Right.
Um, because I can sit up here and say, for me,
Mm-hmm.
and it's across the board, regardless married or not, sex for me is marriage. And so
Yeah.
even if I wasn't going through that journey,
Yeah.
I've been in so many bad relationships that I didn't want to cross that line
Yeah.
too early
Right. Right.
because I knew if I did,
Yeah.
everything else would have been thrown out of the door. I would have looked past red
Right.
flags and all that stuff. And I
Yeah.
think that's something that people refuses to admit
Mm-hmm.
that. And it goes back to you where you were saying that, hey, some folks they're in that relationship full blown, or there's some folks just
Yeah.
having fun. But and again, it's just my opinion.
Yeah.
And for me, that took something from me
Yeah.
if I crossed that line. I can't speak for anybody else,
Right.
but I just knew if I had crossed that line, it was going to take something from me,
Right.
and I just wouldn't have felt the same.
Well, and then you learn from your previous experiences. So
Right.
you made a conscious effort and a comfort, a conscious choice, you know, from your past experiences. You already knew the consequences and you didn't want to go through that again. And that was the same way when I remarried. I was determined to practice celibacy with abstinence altogether. Like
Right.
no sex with toys, no masturbation, no, like I even got to the point where I cut off anything with sex scenes, no kissing, no hugging, and all of that, because what I wanted to do was make a commitment to myself and
Right.
make a commitment to my faith, which is God and Christ. So I was like, okay, I'm not going to have sex, right? And so that was that commitment based off of what I've already gone through. I knew I've already gone through the whole, you know, being married prior to that, but then prior to that, being in relationships that I needed to break a lot of, soul ties and so forth. So for 8 years, I was on that path. And
Right.
so my vow was to God, the next person that I sleep with was going to be my husband.
Okay.
And so that was our journey. And of course, Chef didn't believe I was on that journey at first. He thought I was lying because many people always say, "Oh, I'm celibate, I'm abstinent, or whatever." But then as soon as the first person come along, they think this the right one, this, that, and the other, boom.
Yeah.
And it's no judgment because it is hard. But once you make it up in your mind, once you make that commitment, and like what you did, you made a conscious commitment to yourself first and then to your wife. Now, wife, at that time, it's like, hey, I love this woman and I'm going to be committed to her first. I'm going to be committed to myself first, and then I can be truly committed to her without the sex, right?
Right.
So that's what happens. But a lot of us don't want to take that journey. 8 years it was 8 years for me that I
Woo.
practiced. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Like Kevin Hart. Damn.
Woo, yeah. Woo, Jesus. I mean, I would go places and there's just the smell of some cologne. I was like, Jesus, in the name of Jesus. I'm in a coffee line, and I remember one day, this guy came. He was smelling good. He was and I literally, I was praying out loud. I said, "In the name of Jesus, I rebuke you, enemy. I rebuke you. I'm not going back. I'm not going back."
Well, Miss Evelyn says because men and women are taught different things about the value of sex.
Mm-hmm.
They want different things out of it. Many men prioritize
Mm-hmm.
uh, it for his pleasure. Many women hold it as a commitment and plan to build together.
Yeah.
Again, bro, I'm gonna just go ahead and throw myself over on the bus. I,
But
I, I
nowadays it's the opposite almost, because a lot of women are
yeah,
just
because I'm
like,
saying, I guess, folks sit up and say I was a whole woman up in these streets.
a lot of women are like, you know what? I want it just as much as he does, and
Yeah,
vice versa, So yeah, yeah,
and I think that was my issue with a lot of my relationships, where they didn't think that I would be as serious as I was. The
mm,
ones that I was serious in, the ones that I chose to, let me correct that. The ones I chose to be serious in, not
yeah,
saying that I had a whole bunch of flings, but when I
yeah,
finally found those to be serious in, I don't think the women that I chose at that time were thinking that I was wanting to be as serious as I was, which caused a lot of problems.
yeah,
And again, I crossed that sexual line. I'm like, everything for me was like a marriage.
yeah,
And so I don't want to get a divorce. And so I stayed in toxic relationships longer than I was supposed to stay in.
right,
And so building trust and respect. Like, I can honestly say, and that's our second bullet point, guys, building trust and respect
yeah,
outside of going after the sex.
yeah,
That was one of the most satisfying things I can sit up here and say me and my wife did.
yeah,
Um, Talking.
mm-hmm.
I mean, it was we didn't do the we didn't do the late night on the phone. Are you sleep?
Yeah.
You gonna hang up? You hang up. I still fuss at her about that. You stole that from me.
You didn't get to
Everybody my
drool
age
on the
still talking about they
phone.
had that moment where at this age that they fell asleep on the phone with their girlfriend.
You
You
didn't get a
ain't
chance
take
to
that. You
drool on
took
the
that from me.
phone.
I ain't want to use you.
Lisa, you got to give him that chance. You got
Thank
to let him
you.
drool on
See,
the phone.
right, right. So, but we did have we had long talks.
Yeah.
My wife was the first person that I seriously ever dated, and still
Okay.
continues to date.
Yeah. Yeah. That's good.
So this
That's so
relationship
beautiful.
was a bit trust and a respect builder for me, and that's something that
Yeah.
we pride ourselves on continuing to respect and build trust with each other.
Yeah. Yeah. And you have to do that. But the thing about it, you built that trust and respect with yourself first. See, all of
Right.
this has to start with self. And that's what we're missing a lot of times, especially with the dating, the sets, and all of that, because we haven't built that healthy relationship with ourselves yet, because we don't know what we want prior to that. So then we get into these situations, and we're expecting the next person to know what we want, right? And
Right.
so that's why dating is people have made dating so complicated, right? It should not be complicated.
Nope.
It should not be complicated. We should not still be fussing about who's going to pay for what. I honestly don't get it. My thing is you let and again, that we're going to veering off to the next thing, but you started off with the trust, building that trust within yourself first, so then you can connect with Lisa, and then that's how you all start building that trust and respect, because it's like, okay, I respect myself enough to tell her what I'm wanting, what I'm liking out of her, what I'm loving in her, what I like, and so forth,
Right.
and then you're building that trust. So now she's like, oh, this conversation is cool because he's sharing this with me. So now you're building that trust. So yeah,
Right.
that building that trust, you started it with yourself, and then it carried over into Lisa. And
Yeah.
then that's how, yeah, you built that trust, and that's what you're supposed to do. You got
And I think a
to.
lot of that trust in myself came along when I was able to say no and
Yeah,
have boundaries to
yeah,
other situations
right,
and understand that as much as I would like for this to work,
yeah,
this is not gonna pan out good.
yeah,
And if I wanted to, you hate to end situations on a
mm-hmm,
bad note,
yeah,
and if you can separate or leave that situation on a good note, that's great.
yeah,
And so I've learned like boundaries and no is like a a beautiful thing once you
yeah,
get a grasp of
yeah,
understanding that I don't have to do this, I don't need to do this.
right,
So that opens up to the next bullet point of avoid negative consequences.
yeah,
Because I found myself in situations before my marriage where if I had pushed a little harder,
yeah,
I probably would have been in a negative uh, consequence.
mm,
And I'm not going to say that I don't regret having those situations because again, it still allowed me to grow.
yeah,
And I think that's another thing that people don't look at. They're constantly amplifying the negative part of it. And that's even
yeah,
like with my previous marriage.
mm-hmm,
It wasn't 80% all good,
yeah,
but I can go back and dissect that and learn. It's teachable moments.
yeah, yeah,
And not go back as in the go back and sit in it. Is go
yeah,
back and say, oh, I can see where I've grown off
right,
of what I went through with it.
right, right, right. Yeah, I agree. I totally agree. You're the consequences. I know I don't know if you still want to. You said engaging in sexual activity too soon can lead to negative consequences, such
And
as,
that's basically what I was talking about because
okay,
those previous relationships that I had
yeah,
before my wife, I didn't cross those lines, even
okay,
though I know one person that I was involved with knew that I was going through that journey, but
yeah,
I felt like if I had gotten to her,
mm-hmm,
we would have had sex.
okay, okay,
And I mean, I was trying to get to her, not to have sex, but I was just trying
yeah,
to get to her because
yeah,
I was interested in the
okay,
relationship.
yeah. So what you're
And
saying
but
is,
every time something didn't go right, when I was trying to rent a
mm-hmm,
car, the car situation didn't work out right. My
mm,
days off didn't work out right, and I just started paying attention to signs.
yeah, yeah,
And then, among other things, on her side, was kind of being shaky and stuff. And I just started realizing what it was that
yeah.
this ain't something that I need to pursue in this light. Now,
Well, the Lord was protecting you. He was
right?
protecting. He was setting up those boundaries that because again, I tell I'm faith based, so I always go back and especially in those the relationships. Um, it's like when God hears your prayers, right? And He knows that most of us want healthy relationships. We're ready to get married, all of this, and so we forget what we pray for. And so we don't understand the things that he blocks for us, Jeremiah 29:11. Because I remember prior to remarrying, I always share this. I had three I don't want to say prospects. Yeah, I mean I had three while I
Uh-huh.
was on again I stayed absent. I practiced celibacy and whatnot for 8 years. So after I got divorced, and so I didn't date anybody, but when it was close to when God was like, okay, you may be ready, around that seventh year, um, once I got to know myself, like I was good. I was like, I at this point, I can walk into a room full of men, they were smelling good, and I'll be good,
Okay.
So around that seventh year or so, I had three uh they were friends, and we tried to date.
Okay.
And they were in I'm gonna say this without being disrespectful in a sense. They
Uh-oh.
were like the perfect guys. Like I thought that I was supposed to be with them,
Right.
career wise, financial wise, just family. Everything was lined up on my list that I thought that we were, was supposed to be together, right? But this here was the kicker, because I had been so in tune with myself for the last 7 years, you know, being getting to know me, getting to know what I finally wanted in a relationship, right? God blocked that. He blocked every last one, all three
Mm.
of the first guy. I'm like, okay, to be perfect. Okay, we're gonna, okay, I think this is the one. But I didn't sleep with him, and I made that known, right? So, it was like the whole wine and dining me. And I'm like, okay, finally a guy who understands me, this, that, another. And then boom, like you said, a sign came about. I said, okay.
Right.
Second guy was like, it was perfect. In a sense, it was perfect. I was making the connections. We were cool, da 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 da. But there was a sign, and I was like, oh, okay. The third guy, I just knew. I was looking in my folder, and I was like, oh, yep, I can check this. We started looking for houses. We were talking. We were having those conversations as though we were gonna go ahead and pursue this. But I did share with him again that I was practicing celibacy, and I was not going to give myself away until God led me to.
Right.
And the big sign was when he said, oh, well, you're going to be lonely for the rest of your life.
Ooh.
And I was like, oh, okay. All right. So that was a big sign, right? There was a sign. And so I use that with my clients to say that when we have a habit of praying for what we want, right? And it's like,
Mhm.
okay, I don't want to have sex anymore with me. And I'm speaking from a woman. I don't want to have sex when I want, to be in a healthy relationship with this, that, another. We pray for this, but then when it's time for us to do the work, we don't want to do it. And then we
Yep.
get mad and frustrated because, again, dating should not be complicated. And I get it. I get it because there's so many different rules out here now. And it's just, it's mind blowing. Like,
Yeah.
it's really mind blowing. Like, I don't know if I could date. I mean, I'm not far removed from the dating, but
Uh-huh.
at the same time, it's like, again, established what I wanted, and I made that clear and precise. When Chef and I started dating, I was clear with my expectations. No, we're not going to have sex. And if you feel like you need to have sex, then I'm not the woman for you.
Right.
And but we're not exclusive. So you're free to do whatever.
Right.
I'm just not gonna be one in your pack.
Right.
know? So, we just have to communicate that.
And it's funny that you say that like that because again, it was at the very beginning with me and Lisa and me sitting up here and saying, yeah. So God told me that you was my wife.
Yeah.
Uh no, he didn't. He didn't give me he didn't give me that information. And it wasn't it wasn't because I was trying to, have sex or whatnot.
Right.
But she was different.
Yeah.
And the thing was, I had already been given this vision prior to those other situations.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
But when I started to get to know her, when I did,
Yeah.
I saw that she was in something totally different.
Yeah.
And so I thought it was one of those things where I saw a pretty girl
Yeah.
and I just kind of fell for it and I heard something in my head.
Yeah.
But that didn't stop me from also doing what God told me I needed to do in order to get her.
Right. Right.
I just forgot about that part. And I
Right.
only did what I needed to do because I was working on self, which goes into something that we've been saying, building
Yeah.
self-esteem.
Yeah.
Self-esteem, taking control of your own dating experience and setting boundaries can build self-esteem and confidence. And I want to come back and throw Marcus back in there
Yeah.
because going back to what he said that I'm come from an era where men take care of their women, and my wife, he basically said she's moldable.
Mm.
And I take that as in, one, you ain't got no self-esteem
Okay.
because a lot of women, and I talked to my wife about this, a lot of women that speak that language of I don't need a man,
Yeah.
it's not, and I could be wrong. I don't think a high percentage of them there is coming from a sense of I don't need a man.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's that I've had so many men fail on me
Mm-hmm.
that I'm having to do this by myself for myself for so long
Yeah.
that I want a partner,
Right.
but I don't need you to do what you think society is telling you that you need to do for me
Right.
because I've been doing it for the past few years. But then
Mm-hmm.
if you come and you show me, and that's something that Lisa did, hey, well, she never said that I don't need you for that,
Yeah.
but it was a sense of, hey, babe, you need help with that? I know
Right.
I got it.
Right.
I didn't force the issue. I didn't sit up here and be like, well, dang, man, I hate independent women,
Yeah.
but I just see a lot of men that, and I'm gonna call it preying, and
Mm-hmm.
some older women do it too,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
that prey on a younger person because they can be nurtured.
Yeah. Yeah.
They can be
Well, he
as,
said it right. He can mold her,
yeah.
and yeah, he can mold her. But
So
the frightening part for me with a concern, I'm not gonna say frightening because again, I don't know anything about this young lady. My prayer is that they develop a healthy relationship and again make it where there's is respect on both ends. But I pray that her being a woman, that because he's molding her, that
right,
she's able to grow and learn on her own as well. I pray that it's not a secret abusive type of relationship, and I don't want that always to be the narrative because I really believe that people do have good intentions, you know. Um, and Marcus may have had some bad experiences with older women,
yeah,
versus him saying the typical
response
stereotypical
to
yeah.
that
He
type of
may not
situation,
he
yeah,
may not be ready to share his bad experiences with
right.
being with women his age or older women. You know what I'm saying? So that's why I say I don't know, but yeah, he's molding her to um I won't say I don't know if she does what the submissive, I don't know
Well,
if he
it's a for me,
because I didn't really hear him talk. I didn't hear the entire
yeah,
interview.
that was the thing. I was hoping that I can download. Johnny Prince says dating can be very beautiful,
It
which
can.
it can be. Ms. Evelyn says dating and finding your partner can be a beautiful experience. What
Yeah.
do you tell people who erroneously try to use sex to create the connection you're talking about?
Yeah.
Um, and she also said she corrected us on not nurtured, groomed.
Groom.
Yes.
Yeah. Because and that's why I said like I'm being careful with that because I don't know what it sounds like she is being groomed to fit
Yes.
his standard fit what because I mean think about it, it's you groom your child growing up,
Right.
you're grooming, you want this child to be have certain characteristics, abilities, and all of that. So, and that could be, you know, how long have they been married now? 2, 3
He's
years.
43 33, and he married her when he was 38.
So she's still in her. So she's in her early 20s now.
She's in her early 20s. Yes.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, I just.
And
I'm
Miss
gonna keep on
Whitney,
my team.
a lot of people do that with using sex to create a connection
Yeah.
that's normally isn't there.
Yeah.
Let's see, she's your queen. She's your queen to be.
Evelyn, catch up.
But yeah, his folks do use sex as a connection thing that,
So
and
I'm wondering.
definitely a lot of men. A lot of men think if I go in and I
Yeah.
beat it,
Yeah.
it just solve all the answers.
Yeah.
Going to the next one, developing communication skills. I don't think you can, and I'm not saying there's no such thing as having a one night stand after meeting somebody and then it becomes a marriage of forever. I'm not saying that's not possible.
Yeah.
It's rare.
Yeah.
It's rare. And I say rare if we're talking about the whole world. It's rare. You can't, because if you can't talk, and a lot of folks have sex and you can't talk about sex afterwards.
Yeah.
And that's a communication skill all in itself, because again, when people sit up here and say, okay, we're having a bad experience in sex wasn't good, that doesn't mean that person was a bad partner in sex.
Right.
Because if y'all didn't have that, again, that's something I can pride myself on with me and my wife sitting down. And a lot of folks, I ain't gonna talk about my ex and all this and this stuff, and I get it, and it ain't for everybody. Just for me personally, because I know myself, I'm confident in myself.
Yeah.
I don't care if you sit up here and tell me that person was 9 inches bigger than me.
Right.
Or he can last 30 minutes longer than me.
I ain't that comfortable around.
But yeah, so we're that comfortable, and I
don't remember nothing about my ex.
Well, you know what?
And that was the purpose of me being celibate for those 8 years. So when I got remarried, I could not compare. There was nothing to be compared or talked about.
We don't compare. It's not a comparison.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And
I can't even.
We've talked about it, and
I can't even talk about it.
But it's not. Yeah, it's not a comparison, and I understand. It's not for everybody.
But that's y'all's ministry. That's your ministry. For me, I knew I could not even. When I asked God to remove everybody, including my ex, I don't remember how he smelled, I don't remember nothing. And that's the guys. And a lot of people were like, "How could?" I said, because when I was in prayer in those 8 years, that's what I meant. I wanted to be whole and new,
right?
Not just physically. You can't be re-virginized or whatnot. Right. But I wanted to be new in the sense of when I got remarried, whoever God sent me, I don't want to have any thoughts of my exes at all. You know what I'm saying? And so I was able to do that, and still able to do that.
You want to know what? I can probably say, and it's not to desensitize it.
Yeah.
But I do think that sense can be a little easier for a person in your situation, because one, you didn't have any kids with these people.
Yeah.
I do think that makes it a little easier.
That's probably a difference as well. Because of course you're going to think about your ex as if you have children with that person, definitely, because that's that child's parent, right? So you're going to have that. You're going to still have that connection.
Unfortunately.
Well,
some of them.
Well, no, you know what?
With some of them, unfortunately.
Ain't nobody tell you to lay down with them folks.
Right. Exactly.
But what I would tell my single women or women without that connection, because it does make a difference. And I want people to understand it does make a difference, because if you have children, of course you're not going to be able to forget that person, but you won't be able to go into your new relationship comparing your old with your new, or and when I say compare, I mean not just in sexual
Oh,
terms, but
everything. Yeah.
comparing everything, because when you're new for that person, and that's why you see a lot of people now a lot of couples able to co-parent, healthy co-parent, and still be able to co-parent with the 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 with their ex and their new spouses or
Right.
whatnot, because it has to get some to a level where it's like, you know what, that's gone, that's old, I don't want that person.
Right.
But again, for me, I didn't have a connection. I was done. Even though I played stepmama to some of the exes and their children, that tie was broken. Like, gone. I don't know. I don't like you. Gone. You you were my child, so bye. I did. I was like, I don't like your daddy, and your daddy don't like me. Peace. Here goes some bubble gum. Bye. Give you a little going away packet.
Well, like Lisa's ex stepkids still
Mhm.
pretty much call her mom.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I definitely one at least.
Yeah.
I know for a fact still call her that and
Okay.
constantly calls her
Yeah.
without a problem.
Yeah.
And I go back again, and it's not in a sense of comparison when
Right.
we're it's more of a reference point.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I definitely don't advise people
Yeah.
to sit and compare. That is
Right.
the wrong thing.
Right.
Um
Well, so you two can teach other couples who are co-parenting.
right.
Use that as your tool to help, because again, there are a lot of couples out here, and that you have children, you definitely gonna still be connected with your exes. But what you all are doing is showing healthy ways of staying connected. You know what I'm saying? Even if it's a journey, you're
Oh, but you
showing
gotta have that other person has to be a non-toxic person, and we ain't in
yeah,
that situation right now. But
but that person.
we sure can tell you how to put up some boundaries.
Right. So even if that other person is not willing, guess who is? You two, right?
Yeah.
And so you're still showing, like, listen, they still working through that stuff, but what we gonna do
You're
is
right.
continue to do, what is supposed to happen. And so that's that example that you're showing to people, like, hey, this other person ain't ready to step up and be a mature, responsible adult. So, but we're going to continue to do the same thing, because you can't change it. You can't change people. You can
Yeah.
only change yourself, and you can only be that example. And they'll catch on, because they're gonna start arguing with themselves. When
Mhm.
you put up them boundaries, it's like, okay, well, y'all, you can keep arguing with you. I said what I said, and I'm done. You get them boundaries.
Right. And so that's I think that's my thing. It's funny to hear him say, "Oh man, you got a good husband."
Mm,
Yeah, I ain't trying to toot my own horn, but
right. No,
uh
you should. You
yeah,
should. You know what? We're gonna have to stop. I want to start encouraging, especially men and fathers, toot your horn, because that is a big deal. That is because that's what you strive to be, a good husband, right? Because you want to be a good husband, not only for yourself and
oh
not
well,
for
what I mean
Lisa.
about not tooting my horn, I show and I
Mhm.
know my actions. I speak through my actions, but I'm not the one that's sitting up here finishing up. Like him saying that because something that happened here recently. He made sure to say that more than once and whatnot.
Mhm.
But I'm glad you know because I know it,
Right. Right.
but I'm not gonna sit up here and because of if the shoes were on the other foot
Mhm.
and I was the ex
Mhm.
and I said that to him, I
Mhm.
can see fireworks and stuff going off. You know, he already had them preset, and he was just waiting for it to happen. And he presses it. Yeah, and that's what I mean. Like I'm not gonna let it go to my head or be egotistic about it. But yeah, I
If
definitely
I'm a good wife, I'm gonna say it. I'm a good wife. Yes, I make sure that he is eating every day. I mean,
Miss,
even if I order Uber Eats, but hey,
Miss Whitney said people believe that baby daddies can always hit it if it's the baby mama is not cheating. I've never
but
done that.
shoot,
I've
I know
never
that's
done that. But our
yeah,
final bullet point for tonight is to enjoy the journey.
yeah,
Learn to date without sexual interaction can
yeah,
help anyone enjoy the journey of getting to know their partner. Again,
yeah.
I can
I agree.
emphasize no more than what we have in the night saying, not saying that sex is not a good thing, because it
Yeah,
is.
yeah,
It's just we find ourselves in those negative consequences
yeah.
when we ain't sitting down and trying to figure out who we trying to have sex with.
Right. We're not, as I told my niece when she when she turned of age to become sexually active. And the first thing I would tell her, I had that talk with her. I said, listen, I know you're gonna explore, but it comes with responsibility.
Right.
So make sure that you're ready to accept what goes along with having sex with whomever you choose to. Because, I tell her all the time, I said, well, of course, I don't want you to have sex right now. I really want you to find that person. But, I said, I was once your age and I know. So, but what I am going to tell you is that it comes with consequences.
Yep.
And those consequences could be unwanted pregnancies, STDs, or emotional abuse,
Yep.
physical abuse, or sexual abuse, or whatever. And, so having that open communication with her and a lot of my other nieces and nephews, not just her, but my nephews as well. It's like, listen, I know you all are, it's exciting. Y'all see these big, pretty BBLs or you see the muscles and all that, and you want to jump them. Let's just call it what it is. You're ready to have sex with them, right? But like I told them, there are going to be consequences, whether they're good or bad, if you do not respect yourself, and if you don't have a healthy relationship with yourself, if you don't know what boundaries to set, if you don't
Right.
know what to do or what not. And like I told like I tell them, I said, make it clear what you want to do. Make it clear that you're not ready to be
I think that's the
exclusively
biggest thing.
dating one person. If you want
Yeah.
to date multiple people, make that clear in the beginning.
Right.
And so far, she's been taking the advice. Her and my the niece has been taking the advice. They were like, Sean, you're right. I said, I know that's because I'm auntie. I'm auntie. I've been there, done that. I know, But even as adult women, it's the same thing, because even with age comes, even with age, as a 50-year-old single woman, you already went down the consequences. You just want to, you just ready to have your fun now. Like you're sexually frustrated, and so you already know though. But you still have to make that connection with yourself first,
Right.
and understand that there's going to be some type of connection that may be unwanted, and you got to be ready for that.
You're so right. So you got anything coming up this weekend?
Other than no, not this weekend. No, I do. I see. Look, I need an assistant. I need an assistant, y'all. Y'all help me. I do. I have a speaking engagement with the youth.
Okay.
We're gonna do our vision boards, self-love boards. And the following weekend, I will be speaking at a conference on
Okay.
self-love. And then, of course, we have our TMR event with 101 TKO Radio. So, yeah,
Yep. Okay.
yeah.
All right. We got me all off on my vacation and stuff. I don't know how to act. Well, next Wednesday, guys, we're gonna round off the show, um, and have a little break. And me and wifey will be kicking our pillow talk
Ooh.
into high gear. Um,
Ooh.
excellent series this season, and I can't wait because
Yeah.
she played too much. But Sean, I totally appreciate it. Pretty much rounding the season off with us, and everybody that has been on. It's been a great season, and I look forward into indulging in more in the future, and definitely doing more things with TMR, the mail room guys. You can catch us Saturday,
Yes.
10 a.m. to 1.
Yes. Eastern Standard Time.
When we come back.
We come back May. What's not not May 6th. We got a surprise for y'all May 6th. We ain't gonna say nothing, but we come back May 13th.
May 13th. Okay.
Yeah,
All right.
that following Saturday, and we got some surprises for you.
All right. Well, guys, we totally appreciate it. Please share this information. Great conversation, and we shall see you guys later. Have a great night. Love ya.
Bye. Peace.